iPhone 10 is one of Time's 25 best inventions of 2017? How long has this phone even been available? According to a new list of top 25 inventions published by Time magazine, the iPhone 10 is one of the best inventions of 2017. Its radical new changes include the following. They did away with the home button. It has an interface that embraces new gestures, utilizes new camera technology, and of course Face ID, which is the big to-do about the iPhone 10. Apple design chief Jony Ive had something interesting to say, and that is that holding on to features, even those that have been effective, is, quote, a path that leads to failure. I'm not sure exactly what that means. If it works, I guess go ahead and fix it anyways. Hey, it's Mike from Go Cell Phone Repair with your 10 minutes of tech. According to generally reliable analyst Ming-Chi with KGI Securities, Apple is planning to launch 3 new iPhones next year, including a new version of this year's iPhone 10, a larger version featuring a 6.46-inch OLED display, that's a very specific dimension, and an iPhone with 6.1-inch liquid crystal display. The LCD version will, of course, be less expensive to buy and repair since LCDs can be manufactured at a lower cost than OLED. He also says that the LCD version will be different in design and specs from the OLED version. I read that as cheaper. Oh no, they're not going to do another iPhone C move again, are they? Remember the phone that was a whole $100 cheaper than the flagship at the time? Well, it was $100 less expensive, but far more cheap overall. Hopefully that's not the plan. And remember, everyone was complaining that the 5C wasn't available in masculine colors. Not sure exactly what they were looking for, but apparently it wasn't any of these. There's a green line appearing on some new iPhones. I've been told several, so I don't know how many that means really. This isn't necessarily a new thing for OLED screens. We've seen this happen on some Samsung Galaxy devices, and at this point, should you experience something similar, your iPhone should still be under warranty, as long as there are no signs of physical abuse. It sounds harsh, doesn't it? Don't physically abuse your phone, people. Or if you do, you get to pay the price, I guess. Anyways, if you don't see the green line within the first year of buying an iPhone, you're probably okay. Otherwise, back up your data and make an appointment with Apple as soon as possible. If you wait long enough, there's always a good chance that you'll get a refurbished unit, and no one wants to inherit a phone that someone else physically abused. Unless it couldn't possibly be worse than yours, of course. Apple could become the first trillion-dollar company within the next year. GBH Insights analyst Daniel Ives believes that Apple's latest releases, the iPhone 8 and 10 series, will help Apple to sell 258 million smartphones in the fiscal year ending September 2018. The question is just how successful the iPhone 10 will be long-term, especially in China, where the market is somewhat different than the US. For a lot of people there, buying an iPhone 10 could mean spending the equivalent of 2 months' salary on a phone. China is the world's largest smartphone market, accounting for 30% of global sales, but smartphone shipments sank 8.1% on the year in the Chinese market, despite product launches by Apple and the Chinese domestic brand Oppo. Part of the problem may be a supply issue causing long waits for people who in fact want the latest iPhone, but just can't get one yet. They do this every year, don't they? Apple released the iOS 11.1.2 update recently, so what do you get with it? Well, nothing in the way of new features, but if you have an iPhone 10, you might want to consider this one since it is said to fix the touchscreen problem caused by cold temperatures. If you haven't already heard, this flagship didn't like to go from room temperature to freezing and the screen would become unresponsive until you hit the lock button twice, apparently. 11.1.1 was previously released to fix the I bug. That's the one where you type in an I and you get an A with a question mark next to it. iPhone had a problem with the letter I. Coincidence? It also has said to correct a problem with Siri where she just quits working altogether and demands higher wages, I guess. Be careful about updating any iPhone that's not one of the latest ones. We always notice that the older models tend to run just a tiny bit slower with each update until you get frustrated with your phone running slow and have to buy a new one. The best Black Friday deals for an iPhone, Apple doesn't allow discounting their merchandise, but there's nothing to stop retailers from running a promotion where you get stuff for free with your purchase. Well, apparently at Walmart, they will be offering a $300 gift card, which would effectively bring down the price of something like a 64 gig iPhone 8 from $699 all the way down to $399. Is this for real? At that price, I might even. Oh, wait. Is this a doorbuster thing where you have to get up at 3 a.m. and fight the crowd? Like literally fight the crowd? Not necessarily. It starts at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day and is supposed to be available all day Friday on their website. Here's another catch though. You must be an AT&T or Verizon customer signing a new 2-year contract or signing a 2-year contract. By the way, if you see a Straight Talk iPhone and you plan on buying it to get it unlocked to put on your carrier, just don't. Take my word on this one. You buy Straight Talk, you get Straight Talk, and that's it, at least anytime in the near future. No other network, so ask before you buy. This is how you can get a home button on Apple's iPhone X. Well, if you're an iPhone user, you probably already know about accessibility settings. This will not give you a physical home button, but it's the closest thing there is until Apple starts selling a home button dongle, that is. I've always wondered why the home button was at the bottom end of the phone, kind of an awkward location. If you're using the Plus version, for example, with one hand, it can be very risky to reach for that spot because it's kind of top heavy on that end. Shouldn't a home button be near the thumb in the first place, where it's naturally located, like maybe right there? Of course, that would create a whole new challenge, how to allow left-handed people to use their thumb for hitting the home button. Where am I going with this? Maybe to buttons on each side that can be customized. All right, call me crazy, but if Apple did it, you'd call them courageous, wouldn't you? By the way, I have been doing all sorts of crazy stuff with my iPhone unintentionally because of the Raise to Wake feature. So if that's causing you any problems, if you don't already know, you can turn this feature off. Go to Settings, Display, and Brightness. Enable Raise to Wake. Click that off. Ta-da! No more pocket dialing. The iPhone X and Galaxy Note 8 cost about $1,000, so is a $499 OLED OnePlus 5T a serious rival? No, I wish it were, but with little in the way of upgrades over the previous model, much less market share, and 6-inch 18:9 aspect ratio, the 5T doesn't seem to be creating a lot of excitement just yet. It's probably a great phone, but two of the biggest problems consumers have with Androids right out of the box now are market saturation and depreciation. It seems like a new phone, Android phone that is released almost weekly, and Samsung dominates advertising, media, coverage, market share, you name it. That said, you do get a lot for the money, so for anyone who's tired of Apple and Samsung, this might be worth taking a closer look at. Considering that it does have an OLED screen, this one might hold its value longer than a lot of competitors still using LCD technology. One thing is for sure, if you break the screen, your repair costs will be a significant percentage of the phone's total price. Business Insider has a breakdown of iPhone manufacturing costs over time, claiming that the iPhone X comes in at about $370.25 for materials. That is, of course, not providing an estimate for manufacturing cost. Now, considering that their graph shows the latter to be a very small percentage of previous versions, like about 5% or less, I'm going to estimate that they are in fact somewhere around the $400 mark. Now, of course, this does not include research and development and other operating costs, but once the product comes to market, they go forward from that point with a somewhat fixed dollar amount when it comes to production cost, and that appears to be highly profitable. Surprise. Add in Apple Care and accessory revenue, and let's just say that there will be a lot of happy Apple stockholders next year. I'm not an expert, so don't invest on my advice, but for what it's worth, I think this is an easy call, assuming that most iPhone users can justify upgrading to the latest model. Here's your tech tip for today. If your Face ID doesn't recognize when your phone is laying flat, and that prevents you from seeing notifications, but you don't want to swipe up and back down again, and you don't want to have to tap the notification without seeing what it is, yeah, this is a problem apparently. Anyways, just drag the home bar up about a 1/4 inch and give it a slight wiggle. That is said to allow another attempt at Face ID, and think of all the effort you just saved. That is from Alex Anderson on Twitter, so hopefully you can find him and say thanks if that helps you out. There are a lot of Alex Andersons on Twitter. I couldn't find him, at least not yet. I'm Mike from Go Cell Phone Repair, and that's 10 Minutes of Tech. Next Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll talk about all kinds of tech stuff just like this in detail on the Monday afternoon Tech Talk live stream, where you are invited to join the conversation. Or you can sit back and watch, listen, or otherwise go about your day while we talk. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you next time.